Non-tobacco user can obtain $500,000 of coverage for a monthly premium of only $110 per month, guaranteed not to change for the next 20 years. That's right, level rate guaranteed not to change for the next 20 years. If you're a smoker, we have great rates available for you as well. At Term Busters, we specialize in policies of $500,000 and above. If you're looking for a new or replacement term life insurance, call today for a quote at 1-866-929-1950. That's 1-866-929-1950. You're probably paying more than you should. Call Term Busters at 1-866-929-1950. That's 1-866-929-1950. Remember, 1-866-929-1950. Rates and availability may vary by state. Sample rate quotes for preferred non-tobacco underwriting. Exam required to qualify.
Hottest in the game, ain't nothing to it. World class, I'm a gutter, butter us.
Now that Human Resources Director Fernando Pino has Kronos for HR, payroll, talent, and time, he's completely crushing it. He even has his own hype song.
Hottest in the game, ain't nothing to it. World class, I am.
Supporting our entire workforce. Everyone has different hours, skill sets, and pay grades.
I'm on the top, I'm gonna rise up. I'm on the top, I'm gonna rise up. Now we are
Motivating and engaging our people every step of the way.
blast off to the front of the field. This is
Kronos, HR solutions for the modern workforce and the people who support them. Learn more at kronos.com/HR swagger.
I'm on the top, I'm gonna rise up. I'm on the top, I'm gonna rise up. I'm on the top.
Hey, Chad here from the Sports Drive. Man, it's a great time of year in sports. You got the NHL, NBA playoffs. We all love it.
Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs?
All right. And in football, college, NFL, teams getting geared up, ready for the 2019 season, getting focused on practice.
Listen, we talking about practice. Not a game, We talking about practice.
Hey, look, can't please them all. Sports Drive, 5 to 7, right here on ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
It's time for some straight talk. Picture this. Your favorite team is playing. You're streaming the game. 10 seconds left. Your team shoots. Oops, your data runs out.
Look, don't let that happen. Switch to Straight Talk Wireless and get 25 gigs of high-speed data, all on America's largest and most dependable 4G LTE networks.
Join Team Straight Talk and get unlimited talk and text plus 25 gigs of high-speed data for just $45 a month.
Straight Talk Wireless, everything for less, only at Walmart.
First 25 gigs at high speed, then 2G. See terms at straighttalk.com.
Swing into spring at Bob Tyler Toyota with special low Bob Tyler prices on new 2019 RAV4 LE just $219 a month. New 2019 Camry LE just $179 a month. And new 2019 Corolla LE just $134 a month. Bob Tyler has over 10 acres of pre-owned inventory, including Toyota certified vehicles. Spring is in the air at Bob Tyler Toyota, and the savings are blooming all over. Approved credit, 12,000 mile, 36-month leases, $49.99 cash or trade equity down, excludes tax tag, registration, title, 0 security deposit. All prices include $899.50 dealer fees. Dealer for details. Expires 5/31/19.
Tell your fan friends that you've switched to Pensacola's new ESPN. ESPN Pensacola 94.5. It's where you hear Chad Berlante's Sports Drive at 5, Coach K, and Sports Call with Jordan Glass and Davis Allen. Plus all of your ESPN national faves like Gullick and Wingo and Paul Feinbaum. And if you'd like to be an ESPN sponsor or one of our promotional partners, just give us a call at 262-6000. 262-6000.
All sports, all the time. ESPN Pensacola, 94.5 WYCT Pensacola.
The following has been produced by Talk Football LLC. Former Florida Gators quarterback, NFL quarterback, and NFL head coach. Coach K. Stevenson has a resume second to none, and now he's sharing his insider information with you. Talk Football with Coach K starts right now on ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
ESPN Pensacola 94.5, also on your HD radio at HD2 98.7 WYCT and streaming on our website, ESPNpensacola.com. Welcome into Talk Football with Coach K. I'm Jordan Glass. Joined alongside me, as always, Coach K. And, Coach, we've got a lot to talk about on today's show. And obviously no show yesterday because of the Pensacola Blue Wahoos. They took on the Jackson Generals yesterday, and as we are their official broadcast affiliate, we were carrying that game. So no Talk Football yesterday. So, Coach, got a lot to talk about as far as the NFL draft goes on today's show. Coach, what we're going to be doing on today's show is we're going to be taking a look at teams and going over their grades, looking at the players that they picked, and really kind of breaking down where each team inside the NFL went. This may actually end up taking us a couple of shows to look at, but we're going to get it started today. And the way we're going to do this is we're going to be following something that was posted on SportsIllustrated.com. If you want to go and look up the article that we're kind of basing this off of, they went division by division. So we're not going to be going draft order. We're not going to be going alphabetically through the NFL. We're going to be going division by division. And, Coach, let's go ahead and get it started here with the Buffalo Bills in the AFC East. We're going to start with the AFC East with the Buffalo Bills. Coach, you look at the players that they got. Ed Oliver, they got Cody Ford on the offensive line. Devin Singletary out of Florida Atlantic, the running back. Dawson Knox out of Ole Miss. Voshon Joseph from Florida. Jaquan Johnson from Miami. Darrell Johnson Jr. from North Carolina A&T. And then, of course, their final pick was Tommy Sweeney, the tight end out of Boston College. So, Coach, you take a look at the Buffalo Bills. Overall, how do you grade and how do you rate their draft process?
Well, there's a big if in this Buffalo draft. Overall, it looks good. But you have to stop and consider a couple of things right off the bat. Ed Oliver is coming with a flag. He's got some personality, at least big question marks. You don't know if he's too volatile, how he's going to end up performing in the locker room for you with other players or around coaches. You just don't know right now. Now, he's a heck of a talented player, and I think he's going to play well. But is it only going to be for a short time until he really gets established, gets his feet on the ground, feels comfortable, and then he reverts to his the same guy that played at Houston? So for that reason, Cody Ford, big offensive lineman out of Oklahoma. Good thing he's going to play. There's no doubt about it. They'll put him in there. He'll start the first day. Both these guys will, so they're both starters, which is important. But Cody Ford, he was the least athletic offensive lineman that I saw at the combine. And I think he ran like a 5'5" or 5'6", 5'7", whatever. There are a lot of there are a lot of people that can run better than that.
Right.
So I got a little question mark there. Singletary is a good back. I think he's going to be a good back. They're loaded with backs up there now. They've got a ton of them. A couple of them older, especially since they brought in a couple more. And the others here, I see are just players. Maybe they're going to be of some value. Maybe they're not. They're hit and miss. I don't see this being a great draft for the Buffalo Bills. Now, they've got them rated an A-. I rate them a C.
Okay. All right.
C on the pick. Just not what I would consider an A draft.
All right, Coach, staying inside the AFC East, moving now to the Miami Dolphins. You take a look at what they were able to do. Christian Wilkins in the first round, Michael Dieter in the third, Andrew Van Ginkel in the fifth, Isaiah Prince in the sixth, and then a couple of picks in the seventh round, taking Chandler Cox, the fullback from Auburn, as well as Myles Gaskin, the running back out of Washington. Don't forget the picks they acquired via trading a couple of picks, one to the St. Louis, or not the St. Louis, but the New Orleans Saints in the second round, and then obviously the fifth round pick they get as part of the Josh Rosen deal as well. So, Coach, you take a look at the Miami Dolphins grade overall for the draft. How do you see that one?
I like it. I like it very much. And you got to put in there number 2 draft pick because that's where they got him.
Right.
Josh Rosen, and Josh Rosen, by most of the I guess it was a compilation of the scouts. If he had been in this year's draft, would have been rated, as they rate him, the top quarterback in the draft. They got him not only with the second round, but they got him where He's been paid like $17 million already. So they got a heck of a financial situation, too. They don't owe him that much money over the next 3 years. It's a lot of money, but not compared to what they could be owing.
I think it's like $6 million for the next 3 years altogether.
Yeah. And now Christian Wilkins, outstanding football player at Clemson. He'll make a big difference. He'll obviously be a starter and make a big difference in that football team. Could be an all-pro. Okay. Then I take Rosen. I think Rosen will eventually be their starter if he doesn't start the first game or two. And I think he'll be a good quarterback. I like him. I like Rosen. I like the way he throws the ball. And if they can protect him any at all, get a little help around him, he'll be good. Dieter, the offensive lineman from Wisconsin, good football player. Inside, you saw what that did for the Colts last year. I'm sure they're looking at the same result. Hopefully, I think he'll be a starter day one, and will add a lot to the football team. Van Ginkel, the linebacker from Wisconsin, could also be. I've got a question mark by him. He could be a starter. Isaiah Prince, the tackle from Ohio State, could be a starter day one. So, and I'm just not sure about Chandler Cox, how the fullback will fit their scheme offensively, so we don't know about that one. Myles Gaskin is not a bad running back, but I just don't know how they're going to work him into the lineup. But I see 4 or 5 starters right now, and a couple could be huge successes, and a quarterback that could be there for a long time. So, given all that, you got to give this an A. I give it absolutely an A.
All right, Coach.
And so does Sports Illustrated.
All right, Coach, let's move now to the New England Patriots. You've got you started off N'Keal Harry, the receiver from Arizona State, was their first pick there at 32. That's exactly something we talked about. They're a team that needed some help offensively, especially at the receiver position. So N'Keal Harry, a big-time playmaker there for them. They also get Joejuan Williams from Vanderbilt, the defensive back. Chase Winovich, the defensive lineman from Michigan. Damian Harris, the running back from Alabama. Yanni Cajuste, the offensive lineman from West Virginia. They've got Froholt from Arkansas, Jarrett Stidham from Auburn, Byron Coward from Maryland, and, of course, Jake Bailey, the punter from Stanford, and Ken Weber, the defensive back from Ole Miss.
Let's go down this list here because it's a good draft. Now, you got to keep in mind the New England Patriots, only so many openings to play. But you can bet N'Keal Harry is going to be on the field most of the time anyway. And for Belichick to draft a receiver in the first round is very unusual. So he obviously likes him a great deal. So he's a real plus there. Williams, the defensive back from Vanderbilt, is a big, long-armed, big hands, can run. He's the type corner that just about everybody's trying to go to, but especially New England. And now he gives them that guy that can play in the slot or over our tight end, or he's good enough that he can play on a receiver and get up there and give him fits, trying to get off the line of scrimmage with those long arms and the ability once they get all the techniques down and everything. I think he'll be a starter now, whether it's in the nickel package or starter in their regular defense. We'll find out, probably both. Winovich, defensive lineman from Michigan. Oh, they've got a throwback here. He's a throwback to the 1940s or 50s. His motor's always going. You can't slow him down. It reminds me of Bill Goldberg, guy I had at one time. Just throwback, You can't stop him. Motor always running, tough, hard nose. He's going to be playing. Now, if you're playing or in the any rotation with New England, it's almost, you might as well call them starters because he's going to be in there quite a bit. In fact, being on that edge, he may be a starter right off the bat and play all 3 downs. Damian Harris, now they got a lot of running backs, and running backs do particular things with the Patriots, as you know. Some are more well-versed in the passing game with the ability to catch the football, run routes, and so on, and protection, and others in a little more versatile in the running game. So, but I think he's a good back, and I think he's going to find a home there, and either end up beating out a good back or certainly playing quite a bit. Now, the two offensive linemen. Let me just say these are big kids, probably very bright. What I hear there, which is what Belichick looks for. Bright kids, got a big upside on both of them. They may not start right off, but they're going to add tremendous depth, and they could eventually, one of them anyway, could end up starting. Both good draft picks, very good draft picks, and there they both came in the fourth round, as you see one in the third, one in the fourth, and then also in the fourth round, you've heard me, everybody's heard me talk about Jarrett Stidham, quarterback at Auburn. They got who may be, I'm not saying he will by any stretch, but who may be their quarterback following Brady. Listen, this guy's got talent. I know hearing a couple of the scouts talk about him, say that he's got the best, he throws the best ball of anybody, best arm of any quarterback coming out this year. Now, that's saying a lot, and he does have a good arm, and he can whip it. He just needs a lot of work. And that offense at Auburn was not suited to him. So that set him back a little bit. But he's a good quarterback. He's at the right place. He would sit there behind Brady for another 3 years, and, well, he should be ready to come out smoking. Now the other guys here, the punter, I think he might have a chance to play. And I'm just not sure about, I think Webster's a DB might be looked at as a depth guy if people get hurt in camp, as well as Cowart on the defensive line. I think they're depth going into camp, but good draft by the Patriots. I think the Sports Illustrated gave him B+. I give him an A.
All right, Coach, now take a look at the New England Patriots. I want to stick around here a little bit before we head to break. Coach, are you a little surprised with Gronkowski calling it a career and retiring that maybe they didn't go after a tight end? Because you look at it still right there at that number one pick. Obviously, N'Keal Harry was definitely a great pick for them, but you still had Irv Smith available right there. So, Coach, are you a little surprised that maybe they didn't go the tight end route at all in the draft, because they didn't draft a tight end at all?
I'm not at all surprised. He does not draft by need. They weren't going to draft a tight end. They make up for the catches and the impact that Gronkowski had in the passing game by getting another, by bringing in the kid from Denver,
Thomas, yeah,
Demaryius Thomas, and they've got. Now they've got this kid, N'Keal Harry, and so you can look at it like, regardless, they're gonna be able to make up some of those catches with other people. They also like to use their backs on with matchups. So Damian Harris could give them a few catches there too. You add all the catches together, and you've made up for some of the Gronkowski catches. Now, what they can't do right now, that I know of, they may have a tight end there that they like a lot, but I don't think they can make up for the inline tight end blocking that they got with Gronkowski.
All right, Coach. Well, we'll take a quick timeout. When we come back, more Talk Football with Coach K coming up next right here on ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
Sometimes your bank, your family, and your friends love you, but they don't have the money to help you. Sometimes we have chances to make money, but the old saying, you've got to have money to make money, rings true. At Pensacola Specialty Pond, we can help. If you have trucks, heavy equipment, airplanes, boats, jet skis, anything with value, Pensacola Specialty Pond can loan you that short-term money you need. No credit checks, and at Pensacola Specialty Pond, you're going to find the money and the discretion you need.
Now at 6428 Pensacola Boulevard, north of Car City. Call 432-9050, 432-9050.
Wings are now on Beef O'Brady's 2 for $20 deal. Wings?
Wings. Bigger bang, same buck. Pick a starter plus 2 entrees. Like 10 of Beef's famous wings, still $20. 2 for $20. Worth every penny.
Tower, this is Alpha Squad. Something smells mighty good up here. Who's hungry? Over.
Beef's 2 for $20. Pick a starter and 2 entrees. Like Beef's new chicken tender Parmesan skillet, still just $20.
Dare to do more during the semi-annual sale at Jared. It's our best sale of the season, featuring 20% off select loose diamonds. So whether you're ready to ask the big question or simply celebrating mom, there's never been a better time to declare your devotion. Shop May 1st through 5th for custom engravings, a wide range of diamond bridal and fashion jewelry, and exclusive collections you won't find anywhere else. Visit us in-store or at jared.com and dare to be devoted.
Offer on select GSI certified loose diamonds valued at $5,000 or less while supplies last. In-store only. See jared.com/offers for details.
Don't drop the ball this football season. Make Tom Thumb your game day destination. We are your first round pick for snacks, chips, dips, and drinks. Are you tailgating before the game? Don't get blindsided. Head to Tom Thumb for all your supplies. Score big savings with our rewards card. You'll earn 4 fuel points for every $1 spent in store. From hot dogs and buns to ice and propane, Tom Thumb has you covered to help you enjoy the game. For the ultimate game day, team up with Tom Thumb, the local store for local champions.
ESPN Pensacola 94.5, also on your HD radio at HD2 98.7 WICT, and streaming on our website, ESPNpensacola.com. Welcome back into Talk Football with Coach K. I'm Jordan Glass, joined alongside me as always, Coach K. And if you want to be a part of today's show, maybe you've got a comment on some of the greats we're talking about here from the NFL Draft over the weekend, you can call us at 850-972-1945. Again, it's 850-972-1945. All right, Coach, picking up where we left off, we've got the New York Jets sitting here. And, Coach, again, continuing through the AFC East here, we've got starting off Quinnen Williams at the number 3 pick, the defensive lineman out of Alabama. Then their next pick is in the 3rd round. They go defensive line again, taking Ja'Kai Polite out of Florida, Chuma Edoga out of USC, Trayvon Wesco out of West Virginia, Blake Cashman out of Minnesota, and Blasson Austin out of Rutgers. Coach, that is the New York Jets haul heading into Adam Gase's year 1. Coach, how would you grade it?
Not that strong. They got a great football player, maybe the best football player in the draft right with the first pick. And if they had not taken him, that would have been the disaster of the draft. He's going to be not just he's going to be an all-pro. No doubt in my mind about that. And that being the case, I may have, because of his dominance, I may have graded a little bit low on it. But don't like Polite. Too many negatives on him.
Yeah.
So I don't know how he's going to fit. the tackle from Southern Cal could be a starter for him. He certainly will add depth, so he's a good pick. The rest of them are shots in the dark. Jordan, I don't see any. They got Quentin Williams out of this. This is a Quentin Williams draft for them, and that's it. I give them a C-. I think the Sports Illustrated maybe gave them a C+. I give them a C-.
All right, Coach, let's move on now to our next division. It's the AFC North. We're going to start off with the Baltimore Ravens, and, Coach, you take a look at them. They take Marquise Brown, the receiver from Oklahoma, in the first round. Jalen Ferguson, the defensive end from Louisiana Tech, in the third round. Miles Boykin from Notre Dame in the third round. Justice Hill, the running back from Oklahoma State, in the fourth round. A couple of different fourth-round picks here. As a matter of fact, they have three. So they took Justice Hill with the first one, Ben Powers with the second one, an offensive lineman out of Oklahoma, and then Amon Marshall, the cornerback out of USC, rounded out their fourth-round picks. They took Dalen Mack from Texas A&M in the fifth round, and Trace McSorley, the quarterback from Penn State, with the sixth-round pick.
Well, it's a curious, kind of a curious draft, but I will tell you, with Marquise Brown, he's a little small receiver who can really burn it. So they're going to be talking about extraordinary speed right there. And if he gets his hands on the ball, he's gone, and he crack. Ferguson, we've talked. Jim Haslett talked about what an athlete he is. I think he's an outstanding athlete. Very raw. It's going to take a little time to get him where you want him.
Right.
But when you do, he'll be a good football player for him. And at worst, they'll put him in. They'll teach him two techniques and put him in on pass downs on the edge. So you got to say he could be an impact football player for him if he gets pressure on the quarterback. Certainly, if he is capable of getting the quarterback on the ground. So Boykin, another receiver. I don't know that Boykin could help him. He certainly will add depth. Justice Hill will help him as a running back. Could end up being their running back. He's a good football player. Ben Powers, offensive line from Oklahoma. Again, I think he could be a starter for him. They could move him in inside or outside, either one. The others are at best their depth and camp people. Now, Trace McSorley is an interesting pick there, and when you think about it, what did they say about Trace McSorley? A couple of scouts suggested that he enter the draft as a defensive back, as a safety,
right,
or a slot receiver type. He's got good athletic ability, can do a lot of things, catch the football, do all that. But not a quarterback. He's not a quarterback. If they bring Trace McSorley in and work him at the quarterback position, behind the quarterback they have, and he should go down, McSorley's not too far off what they would have in there, so they could use, think about it now, they could use the same system that they're using for this quasi single wing offense that they're talking about using. They could use the same offense with McSorley. So that could be an interesting draft pick, of him actually playing the quarterback position in an offense that would use somebody with his skill set. So I give Baltimore overall a B-. I think they give him a straight up B with Sports Illustrated.
All right, Coach, let's move now to the Cincinnati Bengals. You take a look at their overhaul for the draft. Jonah Williams in the first round, offensive lineman out of Alabama. They take Drew Sample, the tight end from Washington, in the second. In the third, they take Jermaine Pratt from North Carolina State at the linebacker position. Then a trio of fourth-round picks, taking Ryan Finley with the first one, the quarterback out of North Carolina State. Rennell Wren, the defensive lineman out of Arizona State. Michael Jordan, the guard out of Ohio State. And then moving now to the sixth-round pick, where, again, they had another trio trio of picks. Trayvon Williams, the running back from Texas A&M, Deshaun Davis, the linebacker from Auburn, and Rodney Anderson, the running back from Oklahoma. They rounded it out with Jordan Brown, the cornerback out of South Dakota, in the 7th round. Coach, Cincinnati definitely had plenty of picks in the NFL draft this year. How would you grade the picks that they made?
Well, they've got some interesting people here. Now, Jonah Williams is an outstanding offensive lineman. He play inside or outside. He wants to play the left tackle. So it'll be interesting to see how they play that. He's a starter right off the bat and will play for many years there. Good pick. The tight end from Washington, Sample, tight end from Washington, is a that's it to say roll of the dice there. He may end up being a starter, may not, may add depth, may not. He could not make it. The 3rd pick, Pratt, linebacker from North Carolina State, is a good player. He could end up starting for them because they're going to have 2 holes at the linebacker position there, and he's a good enough linebacker. He could end up starting for them. Right behind him, from North Carolina State, is Ryan Finley. Now this could be, I gave him a final grade of B on this. I think Sports Illustrated gave him B+. If Ryan Finley ends up being their quarterback, then this would be an A instead of a B. But he could very well end up being their quarterback. There are a number of people who liked him over all the other quarterbacks. You know, this is an unusual year. There's some people like different quarterbacks. There are a lot of people, they're finding out now how many people did like Daniel Jones, you know, the quarterback from Duke, rather. But this one, I think Finley could end up being there. Michael Jordan, the guard, Ohio State, could end up being a start. He could replace somebody there. I like Trayvon Williams, the running back, Texas A&M. I think he could help him. Rodney Anderson, I don't think would stand much of a chance. And Deshaun Davis, linebacker, Auburn, might have a chance because they have a linebacker deficiency there, so he might have a chance. Overall, it's not a bad draft. It's a B.
All right, Coach, let's move now to the Cleveland Browns. They're our next team inside the AFC North. We'll take a look, get it started. They did not have a first-round pick. They got started in the 2nd round. They take Greedy Williams, the cornerback out of LSU. They take Salan Takitaki, the linebacker out of Brigham Young. Sheldrick Redwine, the defensive back out of Miami. Mac Wilson, the linebacker out of Alabama. Austin Seibert, the kicker out of Oklahoma. And looks like Drew Forbes, the tackle out of Southeast Missouri State. And Donnie Lewis Jr., the cornerback out of Tulane. Coach, Cleveland Browns trying to continue that trend they had from last year of getting better year to year with the draft. How do you think they did this year?
Well, I didn't grade them too high because I don't think the only starter that I see right now is Greedy Williams, cornerback from LSU. And he's going to have to he's going to have to prove it in camp to be a starter. Now, his starting may be in the nickel package. Okay, so we'll call it a starter. But there's no sure shot here. The linebacker from Brigham Young is, I think, just another guy. He's a good football player, but he's not considered somebody who's going to be a person who's going to win a position there. Just like Mac Wilson, linebacker from Alabama, good linebacker, and be interesting to see what happens there. I don't see much else here that would be worth mentioning. It'd be interesting to see what they drafted a kicker, so it'd be interesting to see how that happens. You know, in camp, how he does in camp. If they end up with a good kicker, that would help him. But anyway, I gave him a D. I think Sports Illustrated gave him a C-.
All right, Coach, let's move now to the Pittsburgh Steelers, and we'll start it off with their first pick in the 1st round. And they actually moved up and traded with Denver to get this player. They move up with Denver and trade to number 10 so they can take Devin Bush, the linebacker, out of Michigan. After that, in the third round, they took a couple of players in Deontay Johnson, the receiver, out of Toledo, Justin Lane, the cornerback, out of Michigan State. Benny Snell Jr. was in the fourth round. He's the running back out of Kentucky. In the fifth round, they took Zach Gentry, the tight end from Michigan. A couple of different sixth-round picks here. Sutton Smith from Northern Illinois, Isaiah Buggs, the defensive lineman from Alabama, and Ulysses Gilbert III from Akron, all going in the sixth round. And then they wrap it up with Derwin Gray, the offensive lineman out of Maryland. Coach, Pittsburgh Steelers, they lose Antonio Brown. They're trying to rebuild after last year, kind of get things back on track for them. How do you think they did in the draft?
I'm not sure how they did in the draft, to be honest with you. I'm not real high on Devin Bush. I think he's a good football player. I don't think he's a great player. I think they may end up being a little disappointed. But they were really shooting for that linebacker position. And, the other thing that could hurt them here is they moved up, I forget how many, something like 20 picks. They moved up to get him, to get Bush. So they really gave up quite a bit to come up and get him. Now, ever since they lost their linebacker, their name escapes me right now. Shazier. They have not been as efficient defensively since losing Shazier. So they're trying to recapture that magic there. I just don't think Bush is the guy, but we'll see. I could be wrong on that. I really like their Deontay Johnson, the wide receiver from Toledo. Have you seen the tape on him?
I have, yeah.
Oh my gosh, he's quick, he's fast, extremely fast. When he turns it on, there's nobody going to catch him. There's no doubt about that. Now he's not all that big, as you might expect, but good gracious, he's got tremendous speed. And I think Justin Lane, cornerback, is going to add depth to their football team. I like Benny Snell. I think Benny Snell's a good back, a real good back. And though he may not be the starter to begin with, Connor, I'm sure, will be the starter. But Snell is gonna push him. I really believe that, and will end up playing. Gentry, the tight end from Michigan. This is an interesting pick. Not very fast, but I think they're looking at more of a blocker here. So he could end up playing quite a bit for him. And Isaiah Buggs, defensive lineman from Alabama, at the very worst, he's going to give him some more depth in that defensive line. He's good. He's a good football player. I give him a B. Steelers a B. It would be a B plus, except for I'm just not sure about Bush.
All right, Coach. Well, we'll take a quick timeout. When we come back, we'll have more Talk Football. When we come back, we'll be taking a look at the AFC South, getting it started with the Houston Texans, grading their draft picks. Coming up next on Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
Wings are now on Beef O'Brady's 2 for $20 deal. Wings?
Wings. Bigger bang, same buck. Pick a starter plus 2 entrees. Like 10 of Beef's famous wings, still $20. 2 for $20. Worth every penny.
Tower, this is Alpha Squad. Something smells mighty good up here. Who's hungry? Over.
Beef's 2 for $20. Pick a starter and 2 entrees, like Beef's new chicken tender Parmesan skillet. Still just $20.
The backyard's looking great, Rob.
Thanks, man. I was planning on adding a deck, too. Know any good contractors?
Why don't you just ask Home Advisor?
Home what?
HomeAdvisor.com. You just tell them about your project and they match you with local pros that can do the job.
Nice. Now, how much does it cost?
Oh, Home Advisor's totally free to use. Plus, you can read customer reviews, check pricing, and book appointments for free.
What's the website again?
HomeAdvisor.com. Or just download the free Home Advisor app.
Home Advisor.
Progressive presents Get Pumped. Inspiration to help you do insurance stuff.
Okay, time out. You're gonna let your budget be the boss of you? Take control with Progressive's Name Your Price tool. Tell us what you want to pay for car insurance, and we'll help you find options that fit your budget. Here's some music to get you pumped. Da-dong, 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 dang, dang. I hear your budget laughing at you. Oh, wait, that's just those kids laughing at me. Ignore them! Da-dong, da-dong.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
Pensacola 94.5, also on your HD radio at HD2 98.7 WYCT. Streaming on our website, ESPNpensacola.com. Welcome back into Talk Football with Coach K. I'm Jordan Glass, joined alongside me as always, Coach K. And Coach, continuing to just roll through the NFL here, division by division, taking a look at these teams and grading the picks they made inside the NFL draft. Let's keep it going now. We're moving to the AFC South from the AFC North. We'll look at the Houston Texans, Coach. We'll start it off, a pick that kind of had a lot of people scratching their head because, well, nobody'd really heard of this guy unless you were a alumni of Alabama State. Titus Howard was their first pick in the first round, the offensive lineman. Then they go in the second round pick where they have two different picks. They take Lonnie Johnson, the cornerback out of Kentucky, and Max Sharping, the tackle out of Northern Illinois in the second round. In the third round, they take Kahel Waring, the tight end out of San Diego State. In the fifth round, they take Charles Omenhayu, the defensive lineman out of Texas. In the sixth round, it's Xavier Crawford, the defensive back out of Central Michigan. And at number 7, to round it out, it's Cullen Gillespie, the fullback from Texas A&M.
Well, this really does make you scratch your head a little bit here. They really needed, more so than anybody, they needed an offensive line help.
They did, yeah.
And, now they got Titus Howard from Alabama State and Max Sharping from Northern Illinois, who both might end up being starters. Both are small college guys. Titus Howard started out, believe it or not, as a quarterback. From a quarterback, he outgrew that to a tight end, to a tackle. He is a big guy. I mean, he's big. He's got the girth and the size and everything you need there. I'm sure he's a good kid, and I'm sure that he's got what it takes to develop. But develop is the key word here. How are you going to help yourself in the offensive line with a kid who is really projected to be, you'd have to call him a projection, which is dangerous, to be an NFL tackle. I really think that's dangerous. Sharping, the tackle from Northern Illinois, it's going to take him a year just to get used to get over his infatuation with all these big-time players, that he's going to be playing against. So you really got some youth. Now, they may both end up being outstanding all-pros. I'm not suggesting they won't. But I'm just saying to start with, and you have such a terrible need there, I don't know. I think I would have been, if it would have been me, I would have been going for at least some offensive linemen who played in larger colleges, played against better competition.
Right, Coach, and I think what a lot of people don't understand there is Jawan Taylor from Florida was still on the board when they took Titus Howard out of Alabama State.
That is a good point. That is a very good point. And now Lonnie Johnson, the cornerback from Kentucky, probably going to be a starter for him. Waring, the tight end, San Diego State, I have heard is an outstanding athlete. So he could end up being a guy they could use depending on how much he's willing to put his head in there and block in line. But at worst, he could end up being a matchup problem for other teams. And I give O'Brien, I like Ken O'Brien, Bill O'Brien as a coach, and I think he'll do a good job of utilizing the talents there. Defensive lineman from Texas could end up being a legitimate pass guy. Pass rusher. And it's just to me, it's really a disappointing draft for the Texans. I gave them a D. D as in dog. Barely passing here, and that D is going to depend on a couple of these kids coming along later on. So now I should have prefaced the whole thing by saying we're really not going to know the impact of these drafts for another couple of years down the road.
Right, absolutely.
The real impact and the worth of these drafts. But this one right now, and what we're doing is off the top and what it looks like right now, and the impact that these drafts may have on existing teams. And this is what we're grading them on.
All right, Coach, let's move on now to the Indianapolis Colts. We'll start it off with them. Obviously, you look at the Colts. They don't have a first-round pick, so they start in the second round. They take Rock Ya-Sin, the cornerback out of Temple, a guy that really kind of impressed a lot of scouts and a lot of people that were watching him at the Senior Bowl back in January in Mobile. So Rock Ya-Sin, the very first pick for the Indianapolis Colts. They then go to Ben Banogu, the defensive end out of TCU. Paris Campbell, the receiver out of Ohio State. We've talked about him before here on Talk Football. Bobby Okerke, the linebacker out of Stanford. Corey Willis, the safety out of Michigan State. Marvel Tell III out of USC. E.J. Speed out of Tarleton State. Gary Green out of Mississippi State. Jackson Barton out of Utah. And Javon Patterson out of Ole Miss. So, Coach, that is the Indianapolis Colts NFL draft class for 2019. How do you grade it?
Well, I'm going to I think it was a pretty good draft for them. They didn't have the first pick, like you said, but I think they got a starting corner there. Sin from Temple. A defensive end, the defensive end from TCU, I think will be a starter for them. So there are two starters, and the guy that could be the jewel for them is Paris Campbell, the receiver from Ohio State. Great speed. I think he ran a 4.31, I think, in the combine. Outstanding speed. Got good quick feet. Looked to have good body control to me. I like the way he caught the football. I like the way he ended up on the drills that would show you his feet and hips and his body. The control that he would have over his body, which is absolute necessity for receivers. The rest of these guys, I think there are two or three. Willis, the safety from Michigan State, could end up playing in nickel a lot, but the offensive line, two offensive line guys at 7. Don't count at least one of them out, giving them some additional depth in that offensive line. Remember, they had to build that from scratch, and they've done a great job. They've got a good offensive line, which would help other guys coming in there. So I give them a B+. I really do. I give Indianapolis a B+.
All right, Coach, let's move on now to the Jacksonville Jaguars. And, Coach, you take a look at this team in Jacksonville. 2 years ago, they were one game away from playing in the Super Bowl. This past season was just a complete turmoil for them. You look at it, Blake Bortles out, Nick Foles in. we talked about it all offseason long leading up to the draft, and Coach, a lot of people saw them right there at number 7, getting an offensive lineman to help protect Nick Foles. They end up going to the other side of the ball and taking the guy that was surprising to me still on the board. Coach starting it off in the first round with their number 7 pick. They take Josh Allen, the linebacker out of Kentucky. Then they get the offensive lineman a lot of people expected them to get in the second round because for whatever reason, he just dropped out of the first round altogether. I know there was some rumors of a knee injury and things like that kind of caused him to drop. But they take Jawan Taylor, the offensive lineman out of Florida. They go with Josh Oliver, the tight end out of San Jose State. Quincy Williams, the second, the linebacker out of Murray State. Raquel Armstead, the running back out of Temple. Gardner Minshew, the quarterback out of Washington State, and Dontavius Russell, the defensive lineman out of Auburn.
Well, they got 2 number 1 draftees in their first 2 picks there.
Right.
And Josh Allen certainly could have gone in the top 5. They get him at 7. And then Jawan Taylor could have gone in the top 10 players in the draft. And they get him in the second round. Now, the only thing that, Jawan Taylor dropped, I think we said on this show, there were a couple of things. You mentioned maybe there was a little concern about a knee. I didn't hear that as much as I heard there might be just a little concern about some character flaws. Now, I don't see that to be true. Honestly, and I have not heard that other than from one person. But that one person must have heard it from a pretty strong, because he did drop into the second round. He should have been a first-round pick. So something's up there. But I think he'll, being there in Jacksonville, is a great pick for him. And I think he should give them an awful lot of savvy up there in that offensive line. Oliver is a talented tight end. I think I don't think he's a big blocker, but I think he'll do well in the passing game, and that's something they'll be looking at as well, which will give them some matchup situations. Now, Quincy Williams was the big question mark, the linebacker from Murray State. I've been trying to call around and ask people why they thought Jacksonville would make that pick in the third round when some people didn't even have him on the draft board. He was not invited to the combine. It was a wild pick, one of those wild picks you don't expect. But I've heard a couple of things that give you a little idea. One scout that I talked to equated him to, or said that he looked like, remember the little linebacker for the Saints, Mills?
Yep.
When he played a going Jesse, just a motor that didn't stop, tough, hard-nosed, get to the ball, had a good nose for the ball. I've heard that about him, and I've heard that he is just a good, a fine young man who works awfully hard. So what I've heard is sketchy, but it's been good. There's nothing bad there. He's also the older brother of Quentin Williams, the tackle from Alabama.
That's right, yeah.
Interesting there. I think Armstead could add some depth there at the running back position. Minshew is interesting, quarterback from Washington State. If something happened to the quarterback there, he could go in. One thing for sure, he could be throwing it all over the place because he's used to that air raid offense. And anyway, not a bad draft. I've got them like a B+. Jacksonville. I thought it was a good draft for Jacksonville.
All right, Coach, and finally rounding out the AFC South, you've got the Tennessee Titans. We're going to start it off. A little controversy here with him, but the Titans still seem to be sticking by their guy. That's Jeffrey Simmons, the defensive tackle out of Mississippi State. They go with A.J. Brown next in round 2, the receiver out of Ole Miss. Nate Davis, the offensive lineman out of Charlotte. Amani Hooker, the defensive back out of Iowa. DeAndre Walker, the linebacker out of Georgia. And David Long Jr., the linebacker out of West Virginia for the Titans. And, they were hosting the draft, so a lot of people were really waiting for that number 19 pick in the first round. Coach, they take Jeffrey Simmons. Overall, though, how do you grade their 2019 draft class?
If I always look at, you got to always think in the future, but you can't think too far in the future. If they were in a position, which I think they are, to maybe make an impact this year, I think that first pick should have been somebody that would give them some immediate help this first year. I don't think this kid's going to play Simmons for a year.
Right, he does. He has a torn ACL. Yeah.
That's right. And now there's another thing they brought up about him, with maybe something he did in high school, but at any rate, it's going to take him a while before he plays. So that's way in the future. That to me is a minus on this draft. Now, if he comes back in a year and he plays and he's a great athlete, he becomes all that you think he's going to become, then that changes things. I like A.J. Brown, the receiver from Mississippi, big kid, good hands, good body control. Good receiver. Don't know that much about Davis, offensive lineman from Charlotte. Hooker, the defensive back from Iowa, could be a starter for him. DeAndre Walker, linebacker from Georgia. I think if the worst case, he's going to add a lot of depth there. He'll make their football team. Don't know that much about Long, the linebacker from West Virginia. Draft. I think they got a real plus. The guy that's going to help them immediately, the only guy on here that I would say is going to be a big help to them immediately is A.J. Brown. And that's a receiver. And how much can a receiver do to put you over the hump? I got to give Tennessee a D.
All right, Coach. Well, we're going to take our final time out of the show. When we come back, we'll be wrapping things up on Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
There's only one place in town for the lowest prices and greatest selection of firearms. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range. Visit our fully stocked Gun Pro shop for new and used firearms, accessories, and ammunition. Check out the Indoor Shooting Range. We offer rentals on guns, including fully automatic machine guns and silencers. Ladies, this is the safe place to learn how to use a gun. Plus, Tuesday is Ladies' Day. Women shoot for half price all day. The best place to buy firearms in Pensacola. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range. Highway 29 in Car City.
Wings are now on Beef O'Brady's 2 for $20 deal. Wings?
Wings. Bigger bang, same buck. Pick a starter plus 2 entrees. Like 10 of Beef's famous wings, still $20. 2 for $20. Worth every penny.
Tower, this is Alpha Squad. Something smells mighty good up here. Who's hungry? Over.
Beef's 2 for $20. Pick a starter and 2 entrees. Like Beef's new chicken tender Parmesan skillet, still just $20.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck, Bentley. That was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
Don't drop the ball this football season. Make Tom Thumb your game day destination. We are your first round pick for snacks, chips, dips, and drinks. Are you tailgating before the game? Don't get blindsided. Head to Tom Thumb for all your supplies. Score big savings with our rewards card. You'll earn 4 fuel points for every dollar spent in store. From hot dogs and buns to ice and propane, Tom Thumb has you covered to help you enjoy the game. For the ultimate game day, team up with Tom Thumb, the local store for local champions.
ESPN Pensacola 94.5, also on your HD radio at HD2 98.7 WYCT, and streaming on our website, ESPNpensacola.com. Welcome back into Talk Football with Coach K. I'm Jordan Glass. Joined alongside me, as always, Coach K, and continuing the going through these teams, Coach, and we're leaving off with the AFC South, and we'll actually pick it up tomorrow right there with the AFC West, and we'll start off with the Denver Broncos on tomorrow's show. We just don't really have time, but, Coach, we do have time to real quick address this. Some sad news from the NFL. Hall of Fame defensive end Gino Marchetti has passed away at the age of 92.
Yeah, I'll tell you, we've really lost some of the greats from the National Football League, and I know some of you, a lot of you don't really know the history of Gino Marchetti. You've maybe heard the name, but he was a perennial All-Pro. I think I'm almost certain he's Hall of Fame. But Gino Marchetti was one of the great players for years, and used to be considered the disciplinarian of the league. Players used to discipline themselves quite a bit, and if somebody got out of line, really out of line, they had to deal with Marchetti. He was tough, very, very tough, and I hate it. And of course, we had just about a week ago, Forrest Gregg, another great icon, passed away. Forrest Gregg, Marchetti. I hate to see these guys going, but it's part of life.
Yeah, and this is a tweet from Jim Irsay, reading it right here, right off the ESPN app. From Jim Irsay, he says, "Rest in peace, Gino Marchetti, the son of immigrants and a veteran of the Battle of the Bulge against the Nazis. Marchetti was one of the greatest to play the game. Gino was a player who helped turn the nation's attention toward the new sport on television." Obviously talking about NFL when it was getting going, and Coach, just kind of Jim Irsay there echoing the sentiment that you have. I think there's a lot of people around the NFL right now that are feeling this loss because of how much he meant to the game.
Well, there's no question about it, and especially the guys that played back then. This big loss, Marchetti everybody respected Gino Marchetti, just like they did Forrest Gregg.
Absolutely, Coach. All right, that's going to be all the time we have for on today's show. Thank you so much for tuning in to Talk Football with Coach K. For Coach K, I'm Jordan Glass, hoping you guys have a great Tuesday afternoon. Don't forget, Sports Drive is coming up later on this afternoon. It's going to be myself and Chad Berlante at 5 p.m. right here on ESPN Pensacola 94.5. Stephen A. Smith Show, though, coming up next at 1 right here on ESPN Pensacola 94.5. Once again, for Coach K, I'm Jordan Glass. You guys have a great Tuesday afternoon. We'll talk to you tomorrow at noon right here on ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
Tell your fan friends that you've switched to Pensacola's new ESPN. ESPN Pensacola 94.5. It's where you hear Chad Berlante's Sports Drive at 5, Coach K, and Sports Call with Jordan Glass and Davis Allen. Plus all of your ESPN national faves like Gullick and Wingo and Paul Feinbaum. And if you'd like to be an ESPN sponsor or one of our promotional partners, just give us a call at 262-6000. 262-6000.